Hello, everybody. I hope you're well. Like I always do, I just want to make sure that the sound is coming fine and you can hear my audio. And I have got a message saying that, yeah, I think all good to go. So, hello again. I'm Hiramoni and welcome to Get Set Global. Today's show is about seeing Assam and everything that comes with it, its culture, its heritage, people, people's generosity, seeing all of this through someone else's lens. You will know in a minute who I'm referring to by someone else. Has it happened to you that when you visit a new place, visit a new country, you appreciate a lot of things that the locals have taken for granted? And that's okay because we as locals tend to, we get used to things and there is always, room for improvement, room for progress. There is so much suffering out there. But today's show is not about what could be better, what can be improved. Sometimes it's just nice to see ourselves from someone else's lens and see the things that we have forgotten to appreciate and to be appreciated too. My guests today, all of them have been brought up in different cultures. They have been brought up in lands far, far away from Assam. But all of them have a connection, or shall I say, a relationship with Assam. How? Because all of their life partners are of Assamese origin. Sure, they probably have heard and learned a lot about Assam from their partners, but there is more. All of my guests, they have visited Assam, not once, many times. And I suspect probably they have a soft corner for Assam too. Let's find out. My first guest is, okay, let me bring him. Hi, Stephen.
Hello.
Hi, good to see you. So, Stephen Denman, he is a software engineer, and his Assam connection is that his wife is from Assam. Your marriage, I think, was also wedding was in Assam in Sibsagar. And in Assamese, we pronounce it as Hibohagor. And yeah, so I wanted to ask you when you first met your now wife, and I'm guessing that you probably met her in England. Uh, when you met her, was there something that was unique about her, and was there something that stood out for you? That's the first part, but the second part is when. Now that you know more people, from Assam through your wife, you had been to Assam as well, your wedding. So you met local people too. When you meet people from Assam, is there something that stands out for you?
Well, yeah. So I met my wife through work. I was working in England and she was still in India, so it was just online chatting initially. But yeah, the first time that I actually met her in person was in India itself. But yeah, I could just see how joyful, kind, and caring she was. She would just go out of her way just to please me and make sure that I'm happy. And even when I then went to Assam, I just noticed that's a recurring theme with everyone, her family, her parents, her aunties, everyone, and even all the locals. They're all so friendly and welcoming.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's just positives to say really about Assamese people.
Wow. So did you actually find them really friendly and, very caring? That's what you said about your wife and people of Assam as well. I think, I don't know if you have seen that in Assam, we have got different tribes. So that's what make us, and every tribe brings their own culture and exotic way of life, and hospitality is a big thing, for Assamese culture, and I think that shows through when you meet people, there. I think that love and care that you see, I think that's a part of the culture. Coming to your wedding, I just mentioned at the beginning that your wedding was in Assam, in Sibsagar. And I'm also guessing that probably your friends and family might have joined you as well. to attend the wedding. So I kind of just want to know your experience. What was it like, to have a typical Assamese wedding? I'm sure it's probably nothing like what you had seen before. And what was it like for your friends and family? Just kind of want to know about your experience.
So yes, I'd actually already attended another Indian wedding. So
Okay.
yeah, my wedding in Assam wasn't my first Indian wedding, but obviously
Where was
being
it? Where was it?
uh, in Raipur, I think.
Okay, Raipur. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So obviously completely different customs and everything, but
Yeah.
even just being a spectator at a wedding and actually being the main focus in the wedding is completely different.
Mm.
So yeah, I definitely did enjoy it, but it was a bit hard sometimes just to know exactly what was happening, especially with the different language and all the different things going on. But everyone did their best, and I definitely did enjoy it and do treasure it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but even trying to copy the you don't call them a priest, but
Yes.
because the ceremony was in Thai, obviously, so he would have to say it in Thai, and then I'd have to try and repeat it.
Mm.
So I'm not sure if I ever said the right things or not, but that's
Did
what it
you
was.
care?
No. We got married in the end. That's all that mattered.
That's all matters. Yeah. I mean, to be honest with you, it's, Indian weddings are, or even Thai, you said, we follow rituals and traditions, and we like to do that in front of all our guests. Blessings are important. So, yeah, so it's I think quite striking for the Western world. But did you have fun at your
Oh yeah,
wedding?
no, yeah, I definitely had fun, but I mean, a part of it as well is that I wouldn't say I really had the full experience because obviously the groom's family do their bit and then the bride's family also have to do their bit.
Mm.
But for Pinky's family, they had to do both basically.
Yeah. Totally great. I mean, you have been talking about, Assam and Assamese and people from Assam about your wedding. I think it's only fair that we also get to hear what they think about you. And to do that, I couldn't have thought of anyone else better than my next guest. And my next guest is, hi, Pinky. Let
Oh,
me
hello.
try. Hi, Pinky. Okay, let me just try to change the setting a little bit. Maybe this is better. Hello, can you hear me? Pink, I think you're
Can you hear me far?
now,
Oh, I was on mute. Sorry.
now better. Yeah, hi. So,
Hello.
Pinky Setia Denman. So, she is the wife of Stephen Denman. And Pinky Ohomor Swali, তুমি শিৱসাগৰৰ পৰা নহয় জানো?
Hibhagar.
Hibahago, great. We were talking before you came, how you guys met and about your wedding and all the lovely stuff. I'm almost feeling today like I'm hosting a love show. but, but you know how Indian parents, they like to be involved in their children's lives and, in their decision making, and who they marry is an important, very important
Very
decision.
important. Yes.
So when you told your family about Stephen, and that you wish to marry him, what was it like? What was their reaction? And now that they know him much better, what's their view on Stephen now?
Oh, yeah. So when I told my mom, she was obviously very shocked. It's not like, I mean, my parents are very open-minded, and they had always supported us who we choose as our life partners, all the children. So, but it was a completely different and unexpected situation in my case, and that worried them a lot. And they started imagining all the different kind of negative things they could possibly think of about a foreigner.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Like what?
all the uh,
Okay,
misconceptions about foreigners and all that stuff.
yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, so that happened, and obviously there was no initial approval. They were hesitant, and years, 1 year, 1.5 year, 2 years passed by, and they realized that Stephen is not okay. Now it's the time to have some serious discussions. Let's meet him.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's how we met. He met my parents, and my parents really adored him when they first met him.
So
And now,
did they meet him here in England or in Assam?
now, yeah, he went to India, and they
Oh,
met
love.
him there in Mumbai. Yes, at my
Yeah,
auntie's place.
yeah, yeah. Okay.
So yeah, so it's 4 years on after we got married, and it seems like my parents love him more, son-in-law, more than they love me.
Oh, look at that. Okay, great. Coming to Assamese cuisine, yeah. I mean, I kind of wanted to know, does Stephen, I mean, any one of you can answer this. Does Stephen like any Assamese dish? Does he like Assamese food? And is there anything in particular that he really likes? And also whether he has tried his hand in cooking, making Assamese food.
Well, I have never been a good cook ever. I never was. It's because I never tried to, try my hands on anything, to put an efforts on any kind of recipes or anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, Steve, he likes to cook. He tries to experiment on different kinds of food. Yeah, that's a good idea actually. Next time we go Assam, maybe someone can teach him and he can cook for me. We love pitas. We love the food that are served in the social events here, like
Yeah.
bihu and all.
Yeah.
But yeah, we never tried. I the only thing I know is the normal thing, pad thai and bhazi. That's that I'm the little helper that helps my husband when he cooks.
Oh, okay. So he's quite aware of the basic staple food, obviously, rice, dal, sabzi, and
Yes.
pita. So that sounds pretty cool.
Yeah.
To Stephen, coming to Stephen, this is a little personal question, but that's the format of the show, I suppose. So I'm taking the liberty. Um, how do you get along with your in-laws? I mean, they are in Assam, obviously. Do you understand each other well? I mean, do you find anything their qualities quite adorable, or are there a few things that you just don't get it, and that's primarily probably because of the cultural difference?
Well, yes, I think Pinky already said it, that they love me more than they love her, maybe. But no, yeah, we do get along well. Obviously, there is a bit of a communication barrier. They do speak English, but it's still a bit hard. But we do get by, and yeah, we definitely do get along with each
Okay.
other. But yeah, again, it's pretty much the same things that I said before about them. They're always jolly, kind, caring. Always checking when I was staying at their house. Always checking on me to make sure if I needed something, if I'm okay. Yeah, so it's basically a mother to me.
Yeah, yeah, that's really nice to hear. And I think there's something about cross culture, people are quite kind of, they come without any preconceived notion. And I think, it just allows people to understand each other better, respect each other better. And it feels like there is a great connection there. Coming to Pinky, you just mentioned that you guys, kind of attend SMEs events here in the UK. Is it your conscious effort by any means that you take Stephen to those functions and kind of so that he gets exposed to the culture? Or is it because he anyways likes going to those kind of events and it's like a nice outing? What is it?
Well, basically, I try to make an effort to be as close as possible to my culture, and one of the ways to do so is to be attending these kind of events like Bihu. I like it, and I'm very lucky to have a husband who appreciates the culture I've come from, and he's always happy to accompany me to all such events, even though he doesn't understand the Assamese language, and but he sees how welcoming the people are there, how joyful they are. dancing
Yeah.
away, learn the language, and everything then will become, possibly become more meaningful to him than it is now.
Yeah, oh, that's wonderful. I think it's a meaningful way of spending a good evening with friends, family, not family, but food, and
Yeah,
also
exactly.
getting some cultural
I can't
exposure
make
as a.
food for him, so he can enjoy those kind of food there.
Of course. Yeah. Now, because, we have got other guests as well, waiting. So before I say goodbye to both of you, Stephen, have you learned anything, in Assamese? Have you learned the language? I would absolutely love to hear something in
Come
Assamese.
on.
I think the
Um,
audience will love it too.
well, no, yeah. When I was there, they did try and teach me some things, but when I came back here, I did try and look for other resources to actually try and learn, but I'm just not able to find any. So I kind of forgotten it, unfortunately. But
Okay. All right. Okay. I think Pinky
all right.
needs to be better teacher next time. All right. But listen, guys,
Yeah.
it's been great chatting to both of you, and thank you so much for giving your time this Saturday or Sunday afternoon. And I wish you both well, and hopefully see you very soon. Yeah.
Yep, thank
Thank
you for
you. Thanks
inviting
for
us.
having
All
us.
right.
Bye.
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 Bye. Okay, I'm trying to remove. Great. Great. So that was Pinky and Stephen Denman. I have got my next guest ready, and I'll, without any delay, bring him live. And he is. Hello, James.
Hello, Hira. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. You?
Good. Very well, thank you.
Nice one. So James Mellor, he's a journalist, but we are not going to talk about his profession today. Rather, we'll talk about his connection with Assam. And his wife also is of Assamese origin. Your wedding also was in Assam, I think in Guwahati. You have traveled a couple of times to Assam. You said something interesting. I think you first went to Assam in 2010, and you did a road trip from Guwahati to Jorhat. And then you went again after a couple of years. I think you will give those details. And you made the same trip from Guwahati to Jorhat. And you said that you were impressed by the progress and more about the road conditions, I think you were talking about. So I want to know, obviously, your experience, that road trip both the times. And also, what did you mean by progress?
Yeah, so I've been very lucky to travel out to Assam on several occasions. First, before we got married in 2011, and we went out before that wedding to kind of arrange things. And we travelled from Guwahati up to Jorhat, where some of my wife Nina's relatives lived, and it was quite an experience. A very skilled driver and a very potholed road, and it took many hours, and it was quite an experience. And then about 2 years ago, went back, and it really struck me that journey had taken several hours less. Had been considerably less bumpy. My fingernails had been dug into the car a lot less than it had been when I first travelled there, and it was kind of indicative of the progress that I'd seen in Assam, and just about the infrastructure and how they had improved things. Now I appreciate I'm just a visitor. I'm not seeing rural areas. I'm not seeing a huge amount of stuff. It's a snapshot. But it struck me that, there were very significant efforts being made to improve things that were key to lives there. And that's what struck me. And it strikes me when I travel down Guwahati High Street, when you look at signs and you look at shops, you see that there is progress. As I say, I go there every couple of years. I'm not there day in, day out. But it struck me that things were changing. And it looked to me as if they were changing for the better. I certainly hope, because I have a massive fondness for the country.
Wow, that's wonderful to hear, because, people, when, live there, they're a part of the system. It's very difficult to see the progress, but someone like you who go there once in a while, I think it becomes quite visible, what has changed, what has developed. And, like you said, a good road, who doesn't want it? I mean, it's the efficiency, it's the economy, plus it's the joy of traveling. So it's just good to know from someone else like you. Coming to your wedding, which was in Guwahati, and you said that I think 16 of you went, your friends and family who attended the wedding. You have also said that it was an experience of a lifetime. So yeah, really, I want to know what that experience was like, and how was it for your friends and family as well.
It was an extraordinary day. So my parents, my father, my late father, was born in Lancashire in North England,
Okay.
and there he was, sat in his Indian wedding gear, cross-legged by a roaring fire. I looked across at him as I got married, and I thought, if I'd have asked you a year ago, would you have been here? Who knows? It was extraordinary and an amazing experience, but made all the more amazing, I think, because of the way that our families and the whole community, because weddings are in a way that, unless you've been a part of an Indian or Assamese wedding, you don't really understand, part of a community event.
Yes.
And the way in which that myself and my family were welcomed into this was quite extraordinary. So in the morning, my mother is down going to the river to get the water so we can have the jarun, and it was amazing. It was amazing, and it was an extraordinary day. And I know it's an experience that all the 16 people from the West who traveled out there always talk about, always remember with great fondness, and it was an extraordinary day.
Yeah, so I think lots of stories definitely have come out of your wedding for sure. And I think, like you said, whatever it is, it's not a one-day affair. It's, days of celebration. But I think it's fun as well. It's definitely Indian weddings are happening. Because you have met, you have had interactions with people of Assam when you were there. And I think your in-laws who are from Assam, they live here. So I get to meet people here as well. When you see or meet people from Assam, what is it that you think, what's your first impression rather? Or is there like a characteristics that you see in them? I'm really not looking for appreciation, but just your views.
It doesn't sound perhaps a little bit trite, but and again, it's all measured in my kind of rather limited experience. But a smile, it's a strange and quite warming thing that I always remember people from Assam that smile, and there are people that I've met in Assam that are not wealthy, do not have necessarily the best in life as we imagine it sat in the West, but there's a smile that is really endearing. There's a smile that my father-in-law was 80 last week, and it's the smile that I see on his face, slightly mischievous, fun-loving smile. And I just think there's a genuine warmth for life and warmth for people. That's been my experience of Assam, that people have wanted to share, people have wanted to embrace you from a very different culture. And I just think there is a genuine warmth towards other people that I don't think you actually find in the same way in Britain, but you do find it in Assam. It's very endearing, very endearing.
So it's the warmth that you definitely see in people of Assam. And I think this as well, that hospitality and, is a kind of, we have, not we, it's the Indian culture that guests are given like the highest regard, so even if they don't have enough to eat, they make sure that the guests are fed really well. And I think,
do.
yeah, they do, yeah, absolutely. And I think it's all a part of the culture, and that warmth and the care also comes from there, probably. Because I know that, you have kind of, been to Assam so many times. This is not a quiz, but I'm just generally curious to know, have you listened to any song or songs by any Assamese musician, or have you read any book which is written by an Assamese writer, but obviously translated in English?
So there's no one in particular, but I thought, because I know you'd asked this question, I thought I'd highlight actually and praise the people who for many years have been behind an organisation called the Assamese Association in the UK.
Sure.
And this is, my in-laws and lots of other people who all travelled here in the 60s and 70s, came from a warm environment to a cold environment. In some cases, I remember there's an uncle who arrived with £10 in his pocket at Heathrow Airport to build a new life. And a big group of them have set up the Assam Association, and they have a Bihu celebration and an annual Assam Day, and they invite various artists from Assam to come over and perform. And what's really great is that when I first went about 10 years ago, there was my wife and myself and various other people, and now it's our generation of children go.
Yeah.
And celebrate it, and it shares the culture. I don't speak Assamese. I don't speak a word of Assamese, which is shameful, really. But I know when someone is talking warmly and when someone isn't talking warmly. And Assamese people talk warmly to me, and I think they talk warmly as a whole. So the Assamese Association, the people behind it, deserve a huge round of applause for keeping that culture going in a rather colder climate.
Wonderful. I think what you said, I couldn't agree more. And, just to add to that, all of these people who are behind these associations, I mean, they are voluntary organizations. They have got other jobs, their family to, look after, but they try and find some time out to do these jobs, and these are big jobs, big responsibilities. So I'm glad you highlighted that. I think, yeah, great. I wanted to, obviously, before we end, because I have got other guests as well, but I have got a bit of time. And I thought I'll ask you a few quick questions. You don't have to get them right, but it's more for fun. So I wanted to know, is there a favorite Assamese dish that's, your favorite Assamese dish?
Okay, so I'm going to cheat a little bit. There's two. So in deference to my wife, Lucy,
okay,
is very popular. And my wife knows this also. Whenever I go to Assam, we go in search of the high street in Guwahati in search of momos, which I know are not proper Assamese dish, but momos on the street with a stick with that sauce is lovely. But yeah, we'll say Lucy. I think we'll say
Lucy and Momo. But yeah, of course. I mean, Momo is probably not the, most authentic Assamese dish, but I have never seen any better Momo than anywhere else in the world than in Assam, for sure. Yeah. Your favorite place in Assam?
Oh, there are so many, really. I think it would have to be Kasaranga. My wife and I, the day after our wedding, we went to Kasaranga. We went with all our friends, and we woke up. It was the day after our wedding. It was very close friends' 60th birthday party, and we woke up and dawn broke, and there we were on the back of elephants at Kasaranga. I like to say that we went before the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge went.
Yes.
They followed us. Beautiful, amazing experience. One of those things that you will genuinely never forget. So, yeah, Kasaranga.
Kasaranga, yeah. Did you have an elephant ride as well?
We did.
You did. Yeah. do you, I mean, if it's just observation, one word that you see or hear Assamese people use quite a lot. Any word that comes to your mind?
It's less a word, it's more that smile. It's a smile that I see in my father-in-law. It's that
Okay.
slightly cheeky, slightly quizzical smile. I mean, my father-in-law spent, I think, probably 50 years living in the UK, but that smile crossed the ocean with him, and it stayed with him. So I think it's that look that I see more than a word, actually.
Wow. Well said. Do you know what's the traditional attire that women wear in Assam?
The traditional attire.
It's the women. It doesn't matter. It's fine. It's called chador mekhela. Yeah, it's the silk. Yeah, the silk. Yeah.
Chador. Yeah, no, I my wife disappears with my mother-in-law to try and tie the maklador.
See, you knew this. You really did.
That's the bit where I disappear.
Good, and I think you know this very well. Name and river in Assam.
Well, the river I know is the Brahmaputra.
Of course, yeah. Hey, listen, it's just so wonderful chatting to you, and I think all the trips that you made to India was for this moment because you did phenomenally well. But no, thank you so much. I know that it's been a busy day for you, but you made the time out, and I think we missed Nina, your wife. She's working, you said. But hopefully we'll see you soon, and take good care, and see you soon.
Thank you. Thanks, Sarah.
Yeah, bye. That was James Mellor. As I said, his wife is from Assam, and he has been to Assam so many times. I would have loved him to say a few words in Assamese, but he said that he hasn't learned the language. So that's that. But as you can see, he thinks that people of Assam, the best part, the best ornament is, I think, the smile. I have got another guest now, who I would like to invite very quickly, and he is Jerry Cox. Hello, Jerry. Lovely to see you.
Thank you for inviting me along.
No, not at all. It's a pleasure to see you. Jerry is a retired chartered scientist, but he said that I can introduce him as a silver hair adventurer who loves,
That's very nice. Last September, I got back from the Himalayas after riding a Royal Enfield up there and back.
I have seen those pictures. Yeah. I have seen those pictures. Yes. And I think you love your motorbikes, your cars.
I do, very much so.
You do. And your Assam connection is obviously your wife is from Assam too.
That's right.
You have been to Assam many times. And I must have to say that you're so hugely involved here as well with the Assamese community.
Yes, with UAA UK.
Yes,
United
you are.
Association. Bringing in the stars from Assam. Those lovely people, Bonali Kalita.
Bonali Kolita, yes. Yeah.
Nanak Robin.
Yes.
And then Bordaloy. And the last person was Neil Akash.
Neil Akash, yes.
With them and see them and have them performing with traditional, modern Assamese songs is wonderful. It's great to be part of that experience.
How wonderful to hear all that from you, really. You have been to Assam, obviously, a couple of times. Your wife is from Sibsagar, I think Nazira.
Right.
Yeah, and when you visit there, you don't go as a tourist, you go as a local man. I'm saying this because you have been to even remote places. You have gone with your bike, you have driven yourself. I'm not going to talk too much about what was the traffic like, what was the road like. I'm sure you will talk about it. But what I'm interested to know, was it fun? Did you feel free?
When I'm riding a motorcycle, it's fun everywhere I go. You meet so many nice people. And there's nothing better, because my last experience was to actually ride an old Royal Enfield along dirt roads, along the banks of the Brahmaputra.
Wow.
I had my wife, Gita, on the back of the bike. We had a family, part of the family following in the car, and we had friends and relations on their motorcycles driving along with us. So we had a great day out, and what better time to spend in a wonderful country, in one of the most the biggest river you can have, with such lovely people.
Which month was it?
It was November.
Oh, that's like the best weather anyways. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it was gorgeous. I couldn't think of a better thing to do at any time.
Wow. Okay. That's so wonderful to hear, because I was thinking you will talk about the traffic, because how people say, some country.
In the countryside, there's very little traffic. It's like any country town or village, there's nothing around. However, when you do get to the towns, the traffic is a traffic jam happening all the time. Everyone's pushing to get ahead, and what they do is force themselves into a gridlock, and nobody goes anywhere for ages. I see that this time they learned some rules to control their enthusiasm to get to the front of the queue.
Well, do you know, someone asked, I think someone who was going to go from, I think, Britain to India, and he asked, what should I learn about traffic? And the answer was, only rule is that there is no rule, because, lane driving doesn't work. However, I think once you get past that, traffic,
I think
it is fun.
There is an unwritten rule, it's not to hit anyone. And that makes a big difference. There's a certain point when everyone says, no, that's enough.
I agree.
You're brave enough to take it to that point, but knowing that the other guy's going to take it to that point as well. So, but I think the biggest savior of the whole lot is that riding along or driving along, the speeds are so slow. You couldn't do the same speeds as we do in the UK in anywhere in India, because it's just too fast.
Yes.
Everything is much slower pace, so you have time to react. And that's the important thing, is giving yourself enough time to react to any situation. So I see that, we're not going to change the way people drive or ride overnight, but there's a level of education I see that could take place that will help everyone and save a few lives on the way.
I agree. I totally agree. Yeah. Now, coming to your involvement with Assamese associations that's here in the UK, and you already mentioned about your involvement as well, and not only that, but you kind of there wholeheartedly. You have seen the culture. Culture is a big term, but you have seen Assamese songs and music and dance. In fact, your wife has been promoting various forms of Assamese dance in the UK. So from your experience, what's your take? What do you see, or is there anything unique about Assamese culture?
Well, I think it's the whole. It's a little bit tribal, in the fact that you have the Bihu dance, which I find really very entertaining, and it's good fun, and it's quite provocative if you watch closely what the girls are doing and what the fellas are doing, because that's what it's about, is getting the boys and the girls together. So I enjoy that. I don't understand Assamese, the language. However, what I do see is that there's this level of tenderness that you have, and attractiveness to bring people together. The dance, as I said, is very to me is quite provocative. But what I don't understand are the words that go with the songs around the music and the dance routines. But I've been sort of doing a little bit of research, and with a little bit of help from Gita, to actually learn a bit more Assamese. And with some of her translations, some of the wording and prose they use in the songs is really very delicate. It's very nice. It's good quality stuff that I think other people who don't speak Assamese should be aware of. I think there's so much information and so much culture tied up with the delicacy of the wording. Oh, it looks like I've disappeared. Or was my
No, Jerry.
It's
all fine.
It's okay. I had a warning of an email.
No, it's all good.
But anyway, yeah, it was a bit of a surprise. So I think to actually help other cultures, and particularly the Western culture, to understand the meaning of bihu and also of the literature is very important. And
I'll come to that. I think I really want to know a little bit more about that because I like that idea. But your first impression about bihu, I think that's
fun. I've even been part of dance routines myself.
Yeah. Have you?
Last bihu, 2019, I was on Guwahati Live. Okay. In the middle of Judges Field. So if you don't recognize me, you should.
That's amazing. But I think what you said, the fun bit. I mean, bihu is to celebrate and emulate the seasonal spirit, and I think you see that how the dancers sway their body gracefully to the rhythm of the music and all that. So there's a sense of fun, but there is obviously more to the Assamese music and culture. I mean, there is also the classical side. Like I don't know how much you are aware of. There's something called Borgit. There is Ojapali, and they're like narrative singing combined with dance. So there's so much to offer. But it's so amazing to see that you want to know so much about Assamese culture. That's so amazing.
It's different. It's completely different from what you get anywhere in the UK.
Mm-hmm.
And people have been exposed to Bollywood, but this isn't Bollywood. This is actually there's a really deep and long-standing cultural history that I feel that needs to be explained to people. Because without realizing that, you have the movement of the Ahom people they can trace them back to Cambodia and that side, and the travels they made to actually then get to Assam in their over hundreds of years, and where they settled, and you have links with culture within the sort of more Eastern Asia. So I think that explains some of the beginnings of the stylized dancing and the traditional dancing, because it's got a long history from other areas. So
you're so right, because this is the uniqueness about Assam. We have got so many tribes, and it's just like a melting pot of diversity. And in fact, all the rulers, until Britishers came, they left as well some impression in the Assamese culture and its heritage. So I think that's what you're trying to say as well. There's a long history.
There's a good melting pot of ideas and histories that really has produced something very special. And I don't see Assam is such a small community and land that it's going to get diluted out with the influx of people from different nations coming into it. And I see that the translation of the words and writings needs to be held for the future, because we're the best one in the world. Because of such a small community, you're not going to be able to stand the flood and invasion of other languages. So you need to preserve what you've got.
Do you know what? You have actually now touched upon something far bigger, because identity and Assamese identity. It's been a thing. People have been talking and discussing about it, and like you said, unless the people of Assam preserve the identity, we have a difficult future. But I'll come to that, because I know that we have got ideas. But because we have been talking about Assamese dance music, and your wife is the one, who is responsible also to, I think, get yourself totally, isn't it? She's the one. So
Absolutely.
if I don't bring her, it will not do justice. So my next guest today is, hi Gitaba.
Hi.
Well, so we have got Gita Cox, and Gitaba is Jerry's wife. Gitaba অসমৰ পৰা শিৱসাগৰ, আজি আমি শিৱসাগৰৰে ছোৱালী পাই আছো। নাজিৰ, yeah.
Yes.
Sure. So it's been all right.
Something's just falling over.
Are you okay now? Can
It's
you
fine.
see me?
Of course,
No,
yeah.
I've got a headache.
Can you see me?
Oh yeah, we can see, we can hear you as well. So all good. All good.
Okay.
So before you, Jerry has been talking a lot about, obviously, his involvement with Assamese community, and how much he knows as well is just phenomenal. Do you feel proud that Jerry is from a completely different culture? He doesn't have to be involved the way he is. He's everywhere, and he has embraced, Assam, people of Assam, its culture, wholeheartedly. When you see that, does it make you feel really proud?
Absolutely, absolutely. It makes me so proud. But when I took him first time to Assam, I know that the shock of seeing poverty and deprivation in India actually didn't phase him because he has seen this before. He has been to Morocco in rally and going through the villages where you actually witness the real poverty. And he witnessed this before, so he was almost prepared what he's going to see.
Sure.
And when I was there, we got invitation. Whole system is different. But what I have noticed about him, wherever we go, he kind of observe, understand, and then he just blends so well, and he enjoy on top of it, and that actually make me so proud of him. I never ever thought he would do that. I mean, because I have seen people coming from beautiful cities or from upper class to the down. I see him. I see my experience. I'll be very honest. When I was younger, that attitude or the snobbishness I have seen. That actually I have learned a lesson from him. That it shouldn't be there. When you want to know about something, about the culture, about everything, the way they're living, why they are doing this, the financial situation, and if I were there, maybe I would have done the same, because I came out, I saw, I met a wonderful person, and this opened my eyes, and he has opened so many people's eyes in Assam as well, when he's so humble, and when he never made anyone uncomfortable, that I can't eat this, I can't sit here, I can't sleep this. He's so nice actually. He's absolutely, that's why my family really loves him. They love him so much.
Yeah, no, I'm coming to that, but I think what you said, I think it's a very important point, because when people are curious to know about someone else's culture and why something is in a certain way in a culture, I think that curiosity helps to learn, be open-minded, and I think that's where the real connection happens, I suppose. And what you said, I know Jerry, and he is one of them.
That's
Yeah.
how you connect with the people. When
Yes.
you show up, it distances you. Because we go to watch classical dances in London, and the first time I thought he will be really bored. He's just doing for me. But then when I came out, he will talk about details, about the move. And then I thought, you really enjoyed it? I said, of course excited. I was watching this movie about this. He talk about it. He discuss about it with me, and that's really, make my life easier.
Yes. Yeah, true. You just touched upon, how your family loves Jerry. And I know when you go to Assam, I know you stay with them. So what do you think? What they love about Jerry and what Jerry likes about them?
Yeah, because Jerry is make other people comfortable, so they all embrace him. And it's so funny. Sometimes things get lost in translation, but nobody get upset about it or embrace about it. They just laugh, and when the truth comes out, they laugh more. So actually, at home we have such a good fun about what Jerry said. I come Jerry said, because he has the very strong Bristol accent also, because they are not used to that accent. I said, come on, say it again, Jerry. So when he said, oh, when I explained to them that, oh, I thought he was saying other thing, So it's like that all the time. It's fun. I never felt uncomfortable, neither my family. My mom used to come here every year. This year she couldn't go away to countryside. And I'm really feel proud about him, his openness, his understanding, and his love for the Assamese people. Wherever we go, even we went to this tribal village called Namfek in near Dibrugarh, and I was a little bit worried about it. Because of him, they invited us for a meal as well. So we climbed there, those sanghar,
Sanghar,
we climbed
yes.
there with the bamboo step ladder, and then they were providing us food in those horai mane kenor horai mane
Or kenor horai. Yes.
On top of it, they are putting bamboo leaves and boiled food, and he sat down and ate that one. And I felt really proud. Yes,
I
actually.
yes,
And the boiled magur mas was there, He tasted.
Magur mas.
I said, this is magur mas. He says,
how wonderful, because I mean, they don't understand the language so well, like you said, his accent, sometimes they don't understand. But something reminds me here, when a boat passes by, we usually wave at the people who are in the boat, and then they wave back at you, and I mean, for absolutely no reason, because we don't know each other.
Connection, you smile.
That's it. I think that's the connection. That's the connection.
So and anybody invited us, he always said, oh, we are really honored. You don't have to do this. That's how he started. And he would sit on the floor, he will eat, and no problem. And he really amazed me. Now I don't have any problem at all. Now I know I can take him anywhere.
You can take him anywhere in Assam. Yeah, I like that. So, Jerry, I know lots of praise happening here for you, but you said something quite important about how some elements of Assamese heritage, or maybe in a rich literature, the need to translate it to English so that it has a wider access. And I was impressed that you even know things like Pauna. Pauna is almost like an opera, which probably not exactly the same, but
pantomime show.
Pantomime show, absolutely.
We were actually discussing about it, because last time in October when we went, I was continuously taking classes with my Satya teacher in Guwahati. And then he was showing us all this Bhavna, dance drama thing. And then Jerry was like, wow, can it be done in English? We want to show it in UK. Because it's so beautiful. The attire, the action, and he was a gobsmacked. And he sit there and he watched me practicing. And when I completed a dance, we have to record it, because in case I forget, I'm going to come back. So I asked Jerry to come in. Can you come in and record this one? I finished, and I danced with my teacher, and he will record. And this is coming from my teacher, okay, the Dibjyoti Das. After recording, he will talk to me. So he will say, "Oh, you did mistake here. You mistake there. You mistake." Then I tell my teacher, what he's saying. He said, "What? That's where I did some mistake. My hand was not at the right level, lower than you or higher than you." He said, "I just cannot believe. Just so attentively he's watching." That comment came from him.
That's
and
amazing.
Actually, I feel good about it.
Yeah, because he's interested. He's interested.
And he encouraged me so much. I have done so much now. I have learned so much, and all the time, and I've got a great support from him. That is really very nice.
That's really good to hear. So, Jerry, I wanted to know a little bit more about that idea. What's your view? How do we translate? What do we translate? How do we bring it?
Ask me about the Bihu song. He really loved it. I was singing one day. I said, "Maki hoi porim goi tumhare galot."
Buzi sage olop koa nai, Jerry.
Oh my God! I said, that's all, and people get buzz about it. We don't go. That's close. It's just that look. It's just that thought, and that makes you, very romantic, and you feel romantic. It's not going beyond that.
Sure.
Nowadays it's changing with the time, but I'm talking about, before that song also give you everything. Yeah. You feel it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
You do feel it, and although I don't understand.
Yeah,
Sorry,
he loves it when I translate it. I say, why these are not in English? It's the wordings. Every song has got a story. It's absolutely amazingly explained a story about love, about situation, the culture, about the human life, about how we should after each other. So he loved that, and he's waiting for it. We met a couple of artists like Bonali Kolita and all this. He actually sat down with them and said, "Why don't you sing this in English?" Okay,
so all right.
Yeah.
So you have actually done something about it as well, is it, Jerry?
Yeah, he talked about it. Last time he said, "Do it. Look, it will go all over the world. These beautiful sentences, the beautiful wordings, the meaning of the song. Everyone will enjoy it. Don't keep it in Assam. Just open it."
Well, the other thing is that when you have the children from the people who set up the Assam Association who don't speak Assamese, how are they going to embrace the culture when they don't understand the language?
Yeah, fair. That's a fair point.
About the language being diluted out.
Mm-hmm.
So the meaning is going to change.
Yeah.
So you need to put a benchmark in to say this is what we think it is.
Yes.
Before it evolves into another language.
Yeah. I think
that's something that I feel that is very important to do as soon as we can. And if you look at the works of Bhupen Hazarika, he's written some fantastic prose. If they're translated, and then once you get his poetry done, then the songs need to be sorted out as well. Because I think that with the modern popular music, and you've got hip hop and rap and that, where you can use the translated words into a good song.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think we're missing an opportunity, because there's some brilliant people out there who can make the music fit the words and make the words fit the music.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Yeah.
So with those two things, you can actually then put it together and have something that is modern, but has got the traditional meaning that everyone can understand.
And there is a danger here, what you touched upon, it's not just about, getting out to the world, but think about the second, third generation in, outside Assam.
Yeah.
Unless, because they do not have such good grip of the Assamese, let's be honest about that. Unless, they are translated into English, it's going to be very difficult to, shift those cultures and music and everything to the next generation. And where we're talking about the identity issues, it's also well connected to all of this. And I do feel though, do you know what, this is to bring something local to the global stage. Yeah, global language is the fundamental, what we're talking, with a modern twist, because when something is too traditional, people get a little bit frightened.
Yeah,
So,
they don't see it as being something that's worth
Yeah.
looking at. It's just old and
yeah,
stylized.
and it's theirs. It's not for us, that kind of a perception. However, I also feel that these discussions are happening. People are discussing, but how they translate it in a meaningful way is quite a mammoth of a job. So I think it's more about really having a blueprint. How do we go about it? And so until then, I think discussions have to happen.
But as long as they keep happening and we get a few people doing something, because I heard that there have been one of Bhupan's songs already translated by somebody in Calcutta.
Yes.
So it's already happening. We just need to
And
have
it is.
so much more of it.
Yeah. I mean, it's happening. It has happened in England as well, especially Dr. Bhupen Hazarika's work. Some of it has been translated already. But it's just, I think, also people knowing about it, having access and all of that. But before we end, because I think we're just kind of towards the end of the show, I mean, either one of you can actually, answer this. Does Jerry like Assamese food? And if he does, what does he like?
Well, I'll say yes. And you can then just say what the menu is.
Say that again, Ba. You said something.
He likes pork fry with bamboo shoot. That
Ooh.
is, yeah. And he likes fish curry, but problem with him, river fish flavor, he is not very keen. So I cook the Assamese fish curry with salmon and trout. But last time when we went to Assam, something amazing happened because we bought a very big fish. On the road, someone was selling. We said, let's buy it. It was called, I think, katla fish. And someone cut it. It was quite big. And then we fried it. And he had so many pieces, which is beer. So I know next time when I go there, katla fish.
Katla fish is the one for Jerry. Listen, it's been such a pleasure talking to both of you. Before I say goodbye to you both, Jerry, have you learned the language at all? I mean, are you able to say a few words?
I've been very poor, but I will say this in Namaskar and moi oka home bao pao.
Moi অসমীয়া ভাল পাওঁ. Is that what you say? মই অসমক ভাল পাওঁ. অসমে আপোনাক ভাল পায় means Assam loves you back. But thank you so much to both of you. And
Thank you for having us.
not at all. And yeah, I wish you all the best to both of you. And hopefully I'll see you soon. Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. All right. Take care. Bye. Bye. Okay, so that brings us to the end of today's show. Like I said before, that sometimes it's just nice to take a pause and, know that others appreciate us. Like, you heard from today's guests. They probably like us, as they said, because of our warmth, because of our hospitality, because of our smile. But you know what? That's not important. What is important is to hold on to our values. And with that, I hope you look after yourself, take good care, and keep well, healthy, and happy. And I'll see you very soon. Goodbye.